welcome to the cottage. I am Babs with Cottage Rogue. This is my 24th Flosstube, and we are halfway through May. That's right, it's my way May, although it's kind of turning into monogamous May, but that's okay. Everyone sit back, relax, grab your favorite project to work on, and enjoy. I also would love to hear what you're working on throughout this lovely video on cross stitch and a couple other things. Just because I love reading about what kind of patterns you do, and or even if it's crochet or knitting or some other art project other than cross stitch embroidery, I would love to know, because I'm always looking about just to check out new projects because I love trying new things. And but yeah, let me know in the comments down below. I would love to hear from you. So this May, which I have as My Way May, because it's, there's so many different choices to choose from for what kind of May you want it to be, whether it be monogamous May, mirabilia May, etc., so on and so forth. And I've decided that, well, I have a wedding coming up that I'm going to, and I wanted to do my own version of a wedding sampler, which is essentially putting two patterns together into one, and I've completed half of it. I've completed half of it. This is called RPG Bard. Now, Amy, if you're watching this, don't. You know who you are. You're getting married at the end of the month. So you'll probably want to skip ahead quite a bit if you want to be surprised. If you don't want to be surprised, by all means watch. But, this is your warning now. But yeah, the pattern is called RPG Bard. And this is on Badlands 20 Count by BeStitchMe, the fabric here. And here it is. So I don't know whether or not to call this a finish or finish for now, because this is actually the finished pattern, along with, well, instead of obviously put Amy down here, it would have said Bard. I've chosen completely different colors for this, and I did modify this just a little teeny tiny bit. This little part right down here was supposed to be, here, let's get it so you can focus on it. There we go. It was supposed to be a 1 dot instead of a 2 dot. Like, it's supposed to be like 1, 3, 5, 3, 1, and I did in multiples of 2. So yeah, I did some slight changes here. This pattern is really interesting because down here at the bottom, except for this dot that I changed because it was really bugging me, is like on one center, and then at the top it's on a different center, and then this harp actually matches up here because it's an odd. It's not divisible by 2, so it's like from here on up it's divisible by 1, and here on down it's divisible by 2. But yet, even if I tried to fix it to get from here all the way up to here, this, from the dragon head to the end, like the spacing between the harp and the dragon heads, are correct. Like, they're symmetrical on both sides. So symmetrical up here, symmetrical down here, but it's not symmetrical on the vertical. So it's interesting. But I'm okay with it like this because, it's not something I noticed immediately either. And then I also made another change here where I turned this into a cute little heart right here. And I love this so much. Oh my gosh. Thank you everyone who commented on my last video, because I had questions. I was in a conundrum about changing the colors here, which I did decide to do because this was actually more of a blue and a light blue, and now it's a darker teal and a lighter teal. So thank you so much for those of you who commented saying I should change it because you're right. I love this now. It is so much better than what it was before. And the fact that you can actually see the entirety of the fleur, I felt that the light blue had just kind of like disappeared into it. So last time we had this, most of this bottom section, we had not the strings, but everything else on this, and the start to a dragon. Now this was, granted, the fleurs and the dragon were in the wrong colors. So I have frogged all that out. So I frogged out all of this, the darker colors of this, replaced it all. It was over a couple hundred stitches. And then of course stitch everything else. And then, so this is in shades of blue / teal. And then I decided to go with this orangey coral color right here because I saw the bouquet. And the bouquet is it's just basically the super dark blues, the teals, and then the pop of color is a coral, and it's absolutely gorgeous. And then there's some ivory in there too. Now, I had tried to put ivory in this. In fact, this was the ivory I tried. And look at that. It's like near identical to the background. So this Badlands, that's the ivory, I have decided for sure. But yeah, I had a lot of fun with this. So this one is done. It was 1,433 stitches overall. That includes the name, the letters in the name, and my modifications and everything. So, I even had to do this E twice. I had to frog it because I had counted correctly on this bottom little tail, but this top tail was over too far. So then there was a larger gap between the M and the E, and it was too much. So I just frogged the 40 stitches on that and had to redo it. So there's been a learning curve on this, but I think since this one was under 1,500 stitches, that the other half of the pattern is going to be under 1,500 stitches, or at least around that many, because this is RPG Bard, and we're going to be working on RPG Warlock. Again, the pattern designer is by White Raven Patterns for both of them. And I will make the same modifications. Like that one's going to have this cute little heart up here, and it's going to, this down here is going to be divisible by 2 instead of by 1, because then it matches the D20. And all of that is still going to have like this round bubble thing and the dragons, of course, the coral breathing fire right here, which is so cute. I love it. The difference is it's going to be in green because we have favorite colors. We have the blue is the favorite of Amy's, and then we have the green, which will be the favorite of the groom here, which will be Mitch. And so I am very excited. And then I'll have to put the date somewhere in here. And if there's room, I will be definitely putting in a little heart, which will be a third pattern that I'm incorporating into all of it. So you'll have to let me know, should I count this as 3 separate finishes when I'm done, or just 1? I am combining 3 patterns. 2 for sure, possibly 3. So you have to let me know. And then the greens that I am going with, so again, just 4 colors. So we have 319 for the darkest. We have 699, which is kind of like an emerald color, which is super pretty. And we have 701, which is lighter still. And then the lightest one is going to be, and I don't have this one up here yet, 703. So those are the colors that I'm going to be doing. And then, of course, the letters right now are in with this Bog Witch right here, which is kind of like got this green, and it actually does have a super dark blue in it, which when I grab the super dark blue, I mean, you can kind of tell it works. It works for me. So those are the 4. And then, of course, the colors that I have for blue, we have 939, which is the darkest. It looks black. It's not black. It's blue. We have 820. You could tell this is some old floss I have because it's actually bobbinated. I don't do that anymore. And then I have, which one are you? 308, which is in the floss drop. And then 310 is the lightest. I don't have a good way to hold this. There we go. Like this. It's just perfect. And then we have the coral, which is a 3341. And it is just, oh my God, it is just gorgeous. I love it. I love it. It is so cute. Oh, and then I actually wrote it all out because for the patterns, all of them, I have one for every single class. So, you know, like Rogue, Paladin, Artificer, all of them. But they all have 4 symbols. And so I just use, and then the symbols are done in the same way. So I just use the same symbols And like, seriously, this is my card, and you can see how many times I have crossed off over here. I've done the most on the blue side. And then this is the green side. And we can kind of see here. Yep. So it's just kind of, it's fun.
Editor Babs here, and it is now the very beginning of June 3rd, in fact, and I did finish the project. It ended up being very monogamous, May, and I gifted it to the wonderful bride and groom. They loved it, and I just want to show you exactly what I have created. I did manage to get some filming in a little bit in the hotel room just so y'all can see the project because I no longer have it right now. It has been gifted. But without further ado, here's my project.
I am about to wrap up this beauty right here. You can see it is framed. Absolutely gorgeous. I love this. I'm so excited to see the reactions to this. And I even did put my initials in it too. If we come down here, see that little little bit? Like right there? There it is. Can't hardly see it, but that's all good. So I think they'll love it, and I am excited. I can't wait for them to be married.
Back to Editor Babs here. I will talk more about like the number of stitches and that sort of thing in my next video when I recap the month of May. But I just wanted, I couldn't wait. I had to share with y'all. The rest of this video is going to, we'll have a little bit of haul, but also reasons why I was so busy, as well as some fun things that I happened to see in the month of May. So, if that's your thing, go ahead and sit back, relax, continue working on your projects, and enjoy.
I have been so busy because I've been working on that, but I've also been editing on one of my last manuscript editing projects that I've been working on. Now, I am going to go back to cross stitch, but I do have to say, so I have been working with this particular author. His name is S.D. Buhr, B-U-H-R, and he has written 2 series with the same characters, starting when the main character, Ronald Deutschman, was 11 years old. And by the end of the series, he is in his early 30s. And it's like a coming of age novel, but with a slight tiny supernatural bent. Basically, Ron didn't live his first life good enough, and trigger warning, essentially took his own life. But he was given a second chance, or called a rusus. That means that you get a second chance, and he was granted 3 boons to go along with it. So for him, it was having a better work ethic and being a talented musician and not going to the University of Arkansas. Okay. And then he was put back on Earth when he became a man, and, well, 12 years old, according to the universe. And so the very first series is called Growing Up, Barely Boomer. First book is The Do-Over, and Do is spelled D-U. That is his nickname throughout like the entire thing. And then there's 9 books in that one, and the subsequent like sequel series, I'll call it, is called Living Boomer Lives. And it's just, especially as he's grown up and you get to meet all the different people, it's set in the late 60s and the 70s, and then it goes on through the timeline, and actual real life events happen, and then you get to read again like how it was like living without computers and cell phones, and the relationships between people, and how important the news was every night, where everyone would watch the news and it would talk about tough issues, civil rights issues and stuff like that, among other things, like throughout the entire series. And then you get to see this main character go through his life, and you can see his musical tendencies come up and how big that becomes in his life. Like, he was a rock star at one point, and and then there's the military and Major League Baseball and all that, like in different parts of his life, and then plus all, his friend groups and, the girls he was friends with and dated and subsequently ended up marrying. It's really fun, and it's been a joy to edit these. And so I'm a developmental editor. And so I do less of the copy editing and more of a, does this make sense? And if it doesn't make sense, what needs to change and in what order? Sometimes I take a chapter and put it in a place that's, one chapter sooner or a chapter later. I cut it up and make it make sense in the timeline. And that is really fun for me. I see patterns like that. So, but SD Buhr is absolutely fabulous. He's a local author, and it's been a joy working with him. I will just say that. So if that rough synopsis makes it sound like those are some books that you might be interested in, the last one will be published soon. I don't have a date on that. But there will be a total of, between the two series, there's 13 books. So 12 are published right now. So absolutely highly recommend. They're fun. And for me specifically, it's really fun reading books that are in areas where I have been. So this one happens to be in the Midwest. So we have Minnesota, Iowa, Missouri, but also he gets his pilot license, so he's flown everywhere. He goes to Wyoming at one point because he has family there. When I say he, I'm talking about Dew, the main character. And he went to the military, so he was in Annapolis, Florida for the military and for training and spring break and baseball. It just goes on and on and on and on. So yeah, anyways, the books. That was the books. Also, I managed to get some more fabric because BeStitchMe had a Friday night fight night, I don't know, a few weeks ago. I was actually out of town when they had it, so I missed the initial excitement. And sometimes what I'll do is I'll still go on the Friday night fight night Facebook group. Well, it's not even a Facebook group, but basically BeStitchMe on Facebook, and find the albums, and we'll actually go through them. And if I find a piece of fabric that no one's bid on, I'm like, I could work with that, put my name on it, and I end up getting it, and I don't have to go through rushing through super quick, although that's really fun. That's a rush too. So I did that, got a couple of fabrics, and then there's a couple on the ready to ship that I wanted, so I added that to it. And then I have one fabric that I want for my Poison Garden Sal, which unfortunately I haven't started yet. The second section of it just came out, so I'm filing those away because I really want to work on that, since it's the pairing to the fungi sal. I want to have these cute little books. But yeah, so that one came in, and that was my coconut shell, which I have this one in 16 count Ada, because back when I did the fungi book, that's what I did. I have the pages at 16 count, the cover is 18 count, and so we have this beautiful coconut shell, which I think it can kind of look like pages. I think it's beautiful, and I love it. Although if I were to do these books over again, I would probably do linen or an even weave, just because the back stitching would be so much easier then. But I'm going to continue with this just to maintain consistency, and it is fine. They're so pretty. Oh my gosh. But in my quest to try out different fabrics, I have gotten this sandbar right here, which is a Jobelin even weave. It is so subtle and beautiful, and it is so soft. Compared to Ada, it's really soft, and that's soft Ada. So I already love the feel of it, and this is just a delightful neutral that I can do just about anything on. I have a couple of ideas of the patterns that I want to do on this, but I will bring that out when I do them. And then also I have a linen. This is hibiscus, 32 count linen. All these are from BeStitchMe. Beautiful. This is beautiful. I am so excited to work on this, Do I have a pattern for this specifically? No, but I have a couple ideas, so, you know. I can't wait to pull this out. It's gonna be so cute. I could actually see a Jessica Doisy pattern on this. So we'll see. I've never done 32 count linen, and technically I've never really done linen either, so this will be fun. It'll be an adventure, right? Right? And then I've also gotten some ledger as well. So this is interesting because I got ledger in linen, and then I think I forgot, and I also got it in Lugana. Because one was from my fight night, and one was from the ready to ship. So here is, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, it's coming undone. Hold on. This is the 25 count Lugana ledger. You can see like some of the yellow in there. And then of course we got some of the blue and stuff as well. It is very pretty. Now I've noticed that linen tends to take to the colors really well, because this is the linen. It is 32 count as well. It's so pretty. I love it in the linen. It is beautiful. So yeah, I absolutely need to start working on linen for sure. And again, it's just a beautiful neutral that I can pull out for any sort of like sampler, or, you know, I don't know, I could totally see like Extraordinary Bird Cell on this, or the Garden of Oddities, because, you know, it kind of looks like sky. And so absolutely beautiful. I am very excited. So those are my fabrics. And now, because I was in Friday Night Fight Night and I purchased a ready to ship and a couple of fabrics, I was put into a drawing and I actually won. So BeStitchMe, they generally have some silk packs, and you're able to try out some of their silks, and I got the spring pack and it is so cute. Oh my gosh, I love it. I'm going to pull these out so we can appreciate these silks. These are 10 yards. There are 6 of them. Okay, so we have this one here is Lily of the Nile. It's this beautiful lilac color, but Lily of the Nile. We have Pistachio Hand is the green. It is bright and brilliant and very springy. Like, I can imagine this whole pack being done on like an Easter thing. But I'll probably put them amongst different projects. This one is April Showers, which I love. I believe I already have this for my heart sampler, for my birthday sal here. So yeah, but yeah, it's very bright. It's vibrant. I love it. And then we have Lemonade. We have this brilliant lemonade yellow. Oh, it's so good. It is so good, right? Oh, it's bright, it's vibrant. Oh, so good. And then of course we got to get the pinks in there. So we have bubblegum right here. Definitely looks like that typical like bubblegum that you get, or like a 6-footer. Oh, it's so pretty. And then we have Patrick Hand, which is my favorite name out of all of them. It's this coral orange color, and I swear this is named after Patrick from SpongeBob. Probably. But I love it. Look how pretty it is. Ah, so pretty. Thank you so much. It is beautiful. Now I want to tell you about something that is really cool. Ryman Gardens in Ames, Iowa had a corpse flower, and we got to see the corpse flower in bloom. We got to experience the stench, because it does smell like carrion. It smells like dead things, or apparently fish, or according to one kid that went through there, like an 8th grade locker room, which is hilarious. But oh my gosh, I have pictures. I'll put them up there for you. And it is just beautiful, majestic. This one ended up being about 77 inches tall, well, before it bloomed. And so, yeah, pretty tall. And we actually visited it on Mother's Day as well, on the 13th of May, because, you know, just in case. And I wanted to see it in case I wasn't going to be able to go see it bloom. And then it was 66 inches tall. It had grown quite a bit in a week. And yeah, so it I love it. The spadix is this kind of like reddish purpley color. And that's a long thing in the middle. And then the large petals open, and it's this brilliant, rich, like dark red, maroon, burgundy color on the middle there, or in the middle. And it is just gorgeous. And we got up there, and I have to give props to Ryman Gardens. Huge props. They were so organized. They had people there helping and just making sure that the lines and everything went as smoothly as possible, which they did. Their marketing team was impeccable. They had reels and videos gone out on Instagram and Facebook, and just promoting the fact that this corpse flower was going to bloom. By the way, they named it Stink Floyd. So in those videos, they had Pink Floyd music, which I love. They really committed to the bit, and they even made it like a diva corpse flower, and talking about the conditions that it had to work with when there's like a Christmas palm literally right next to it. And among other like different various forms of cacti and succulents, which I thought was a brilliant way to keep people from, getting close enough to touch it. So, you don't want to get poked. So it was brilliant. I urge all of you to check that out, because I love Ryman Gardens regardless. If you've never been, I recommend going. They have a butterfly garden, and they have 17 acres of land just outside the Iowa State University Stadium. It was quite the experience. I thought it would be smellier, but it could just be because we were in hour 20 that it started to go into its decline, so it wasn't as pungent as it would have been after it's been open for just only a few hours. I have to say my husband could start smelling it when we were outside, because the line went all the way outside, but when we were next to the building but still outside, every once in a while it would waft outside, and he would smell it, and he would crinkle up his nose. It was very cute. He has a super sniffer, okay? His smell is insanely good. When we got in the building, I could smell it. It is a funk, and it does smell like decomposition, with a tinge of sweetness to it. It's very strange. But yeah, it's definitely there, and it permeated the entire room that it was in and leaked into the hallway, but it wasn't unpleasant enough for me to not be in that room. My husband wasn't feeling too well when we got in the room. He was feeling a little bit queasy, I guess. I don't know, maybe I'm made of sterner stuff, or it's just my olfactory glands. Just my nose isn't, like, it doesn't bother me. I don't really know. I don't know. It didn't seem that bad. It was hilarious because my brother ended up going later and brought my niece, and she loved it so much that she wants a candle of the smell. Like, yeah, all right, cool. So, just different people have different tastes, and that was a really fun experience. And now I have decided that I must stitch Lola Crow's Garden of Oddities. I've had it on my list for over a year, okay? I really wanted to do it because I have to now, is in the middle of it, like the focal point of that garden, of that greenhouse of oddities, is an open and blooming corpse flower. I love it. I love it so much to the point where I might do a middle start just so I could do it first. Like, it is beautiful, absolutely gorgeous. And I love it. And then the whole life cycle of it and is just so cool because it all grows out of this like tuber thing, and it'll start with like leaf. It kind of looks like a tree, but it's like a leaf, and it's super tall. And then when it's done gathering energy, it'll eventually like die off, and then this like it'll start with the little bloom that'll poke up, and then that takes 496 days to bloom, apparently, something like that. Anyways, it's really cool. You probably don't need to know all that, but I find it amazing. But anyway, that's all I have for you here today. If you did make it this far, please go ahead and put an emoji in the comment section of, I would say, a leafy plant. And that would be absolutely fantastic. That way I know that you guys made it. That would be great. Please go ahead and like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. That really helps. I really appreciate it and appreciate each and every one of you. Remember, my cottage is always open. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Happy stitching, everyone.